The procession is led by the Chief Faculty Marshal, Dr. Melanie Coleman, Student Marshal, Rachel Bailey, and is followed by the College of Nursing flag bearer, Catherine Shields. The faculty, academic officers, and honored guests include Dr. Bambi Karki, Dr. Helen Clancy, Dr. Mara Kaufman, Dr. Roberta Rolland, Ms. Maria Wheelock, Dr. Michelle Jansen, Dr. Shu-Hong Liu, Dr. Patty Powers, Dr. Jay Brenner, Chair of Faculty Council, Mr. Sergio Garcia, Vice President for Operations and University Chief of Staff, Dr. Ramesh Sachdeva, Senior Vice President for Strategic Affairs, Dr. David Amberg, Vice President for Research, Dr. Michael Reid Barrett, Distinguished Speaker and Honorary Degree Recipient, Mr. Thomas Taylor, Chair, Upstate Medical University Council, Dr. Julie Rawls-White, Dean of Student Affairs, Ms. Taylor Solak, Student Speaker, Ms. Allison Kemp, Student Speaker, Ms. Florence Mandevos, Student Speaker, Mr. Michael Lane, President, College of Nursing Alumni Association, Dr. Sherry McMullen, Assistant Dean, College of Nursing, Dr. Joyce Scarpinato, Assistant Dean, College of Nursing, Dr. Lynn Cleary, Distinguished Teaching Professor, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Interim Dean, College of Nursing, and Dr. Danielle LaRoccarina, President, Upstate Medical University. Ms. Monica Morante will now sing the national anthem.
So streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Lynn Cleary, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Interim Dean of the College of Nursing.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the faculty and the students of the College of Nursing, it is an honor and pleasure to welcome you, family and friends of the graduates today, to the Upstate Medical University College of Nursing graduation ceremony. We're so pleased to have Dr. Ludecke, a president now in her second year, to award the degrees today, and to have Upstate Council Chair Mr. Thomas Taylor, all of our vice presidents, deans, Mr. Michael Elaine, president of the College of Nursing alumni, here with us to celebrate. It's also really exciting to welcome Dr. Michael Barrett, our distinguished speaker and honorary degree recipient. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to your remarks. Upstate Medical University has been granting nursing degrees since 1959, initially associate degrees, then nurse practitioner certificates, then bachelor's and master's degrees, and most recently, the Doctor of Nursing practice degree. The College of Nursing was formally established in 1986, so it's the youngest sibling in the quartet of colleges of Upstate Medical University. Though it is the youngest, the college has great potential to impact positive change in the rapidly changing delivery of healthcare, not only in our region, but across the country. And nursing in general has that potential. Why do I say that? This past year, in a Gallup poll, for the 15th year in a row, respondents rated nursing as the most trusted profession out of 22 that were on the list to be ranked. And out of 22 years that this poll has been undertaken, in all but 1 year, nursing has received the top ranking. 84% of respondents this past year rated nurses' honesty and ethical standards as high or very high. Doctors came in third at 65%. Members of Congress came in last at 8%. I don't think astronauts were ranked on this scale. So what is it about nursing that engenders trust, and how does that relate to today's awarding of degrees and the ability to impact change? As interim dean of the college for the past 6 months, I've seen firsthand the commitment of the faculty and students to high-quality patient care. Most faculty and students care for patients directly in intensive care units, med-surg units, newborn nurseries, private practices, clinics, long-term care facilities, home health care, and many other settings. They also work on improving systems to improve the quality and safety of that care and to research new ways of improving care. The faculty teach students how to do this, how to systematically review the evidence that's there that supports change in how we deliver care, and to use their leadership skills to affect change, and how to work with community partners to improve the health of populations. So for both faculty and students, patient care informs their teaching and learning, and vice versa. From that fundamental relationship-based trust at the bedside with patients and families comes great opportunity and also great responsibility to foster positive change. That is what our graduates intend to do with their new skills and knowledge, and what we count on them to do as they take care of all of us and our families and loved ones. Before I turn the podium over to Dr. Ludecke Arena, I'd like to recognize some people who will not receive degrees today, but who deserve a great deal of credit for the accomplishments of today's graduates. First of all, would the College of Nursing faculty please stand for recognition? They do a tremendous job on a day-to-day basis, and they're as proud as you are of the graduates today. I'd particularly like to acknowledge the contributions of Dr. Joyce Scarpinato, who has served as Chief Nurse Administrator this year, and whose hard work and steady administration has provided the basis for a very positive transitional year. Joyce, thank you very much. Now for the real VIPs. Would all spouses and significant others of our graduates please rise? Come on, folks. We know you're there. Thank you for all of the support that you have given your significant other, your spouse, over the last several years. It counts a lot. How about parents and grandchildren? Parents and grandparents, would you please rise? Ditto to all of you for the support you provide in so many ways to your graduates. How about children? How many children are there in the audience? Would you please rise? And I heard a few babies, so I'm sure they're lurking out there too. And all other family and friends who have cheered from the sidelines, I just want to thank all of you for the support that you've given everyone on the stage today. Dr. Kalman.
It gives me great pleasure and honor to present Dr. Danielle Ludecke Arena, President of the State University, Upstate Medical University.
So thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here and truly to honor those who have supported our graduates here. They would not be here were it not for you. So good morning, students, of course, parents, families, friends, staff, and faculty. Some of my comments, I know that you viewed the video of showing us one university, and in that vein, some of my comments to you, and if you have any individuals who are in more than one graduation, may be somewhat repetitive, but it is intentional to show our focus on one university. So today I will have the pleasure, as I said, of speaking to many colleges. This morning I spoke to the College of Health Professions, and now the College of Nursing. This afternoon it will be to graduate studies in the College of Medicine in that sequence. This is my second commencement. Slightly more than 1 year ago, I embarked on this marvelous journey to be the president of Upstate Medical University. And it was at that time that we reflected on how we might more fully embrace the concept of one university. The concept that in the 21st century, medicine cannot be practiced in isolation if we are indeed to achieve its potential. The art of interprofessional education, which is something we've been engaged in discussing the past year, is being piloted throughout the nation, and we have not yet arrived at the perfect recipe for this, but we must certainly strive for it. During the months in the past year, much has happened, right? Locally, regionally, statewide, nationally, and globally. And you, our students, have been immersed in your journey to complete the stated goal of becoming health professionals. And you already heard the standing that nursing has within that profession, the broad profession, that it is a critical, essential component of the healthcare system and also the education and research that we endeavor. And so today you commence on the lifelong path of professionalism and, dare I say, leadership. In the next phase of your lives, as in the one you have just traversed, I want you to remember your training at Upstate and our strategic planning process, which I hope you've had a chance to review, that focuses on a commitment to excellence and to health. And that commitment to excellence is regardless of where you are. So welcome the graduates of the College of Nursing. As I contemplated what I wanted to share to you, I landed, as I shared just earlier, on what has preoccupied me for the past year. And it's pretty evident, we are a university. So what is the role of universities in training, in the training we provide? I did have the honor of giving my first State of the University on March 15th, and I reflected on the status of the academic health science centers, whether they are doomed to fall, as I mentioned, as did the Roman Empire, or to transform and adapt to the multiple healthcare delivery systems, training, and research needs of the 21st century. I will pattern my voice pattern after the wonderful baby in the audience, because she's the future, or he is the future, okay? So specifically, I reflected on the complex task that we have as universities to not only train physicians, nurses, other health professionals, educators, clinicians, and researchers, but somehow to very intentionally link them to the work that they will be faithfully addressing. We discussed the explicit need to be servant to the mission to improve lives, and you've heard from Dr. Cleary that, in fact, the nursing profession has never lost focus in the ability to do that in a caring fashion, and that we must do this in order to also fuel hope. While my State of the University reflected on obvious questions of how we accomplish the task of doing what we've set out to do, I wanted to reflect with you that today my task is to underscore the underpinnings of your training and development as humanistic health professionals and leaders. A few more observations before I share my conclusions, and at least as I reflect upon them today, because those ideas are always evolving, as we must. So it's not news to most of you that we are in an era of fast pace that is pretty dizzying for the healthcare environment, and deeply affected by many things: the economy, globalization, technology, research, etc., and compelling us to maybe view the world a little bit differently, certainly strategically in terms of our partnerships, but alliances that really augment our ability to do good. And I reflect on that in looking at a recent article in Academic Medicine that looked at the analysis of the way we currently function and perhaps some other paradigms that we might take a look at. So I'm going to share those paradigms with you, okay? So one, it is argued that the characteristic of designer, hierarchical, and military or transformational paradigms exist in an environment that is perhaps stable, perhaps predictable, and relatively straightforward and repetitive work. And I'll give you an example. We have here in a university the formal leadership titles. You've been introduced to them. They're academia, leaders, deans, chairs, CEOs, and pretty clear and structured processes designed to divide and coordinate responsibilities and accountabilities. And that's been essential in the development of the various disciplines that certainly nursing, medicine, health professions, graduate studies. However, I propose to you that there may be a different paradigm. And that paradigm is of a more shared and networked leadership organization. And I'll speak to that specifically with respect to nursing in just a moment. It is likely to function best, this new paradigm, in big, complex, and novel problem-solving inquiries that require solutions that can be achieved through a more distributive, shared, and collective leadership to create a culture that embraces differences of perspectives with a shared sense of ownership and collaboration. You've heard the term team-based science, team-based medicine, and for those of you who are involved in different areas in your own discipline, you understand the concept. So let me address the class of 2017 College of Nursing. The profession of nursing, as you heard, is rooted in deep commitment to caring for those who are ill, perhaps at the time when, if any of us have experienced, or at our most vulnerable. In the National Academy's press, Leading Change and Advancing Health from 2011, the quote by Goethe is noted, quote, "Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do." The IOM, now the National Academy of Sciences, aims to examine the complex issues of today's health concerns. The premise of the review and ultimate recommendations by the RWJ Foundation, which was responsible for the report, was to, quote, "strengthen the largest component of the healthcare workforce, nurses, to become partners and leaders in improving the health delivery of care and health system as a whole." Their conclusions, which I'll summarize to you, are the following, and they were represented by Donna Shalala. One is to ensure that nurses can practice to the full extent of their education and training. 2, to improve nursing education. 3, to provide opportunities for nurses to assume leadership positions and to serve as full partners in the healthcare redesign and improvement efforts. And 4, to improve data collection for workforce planning and policy making. That report, when it came out, and many of us can remember when that report came out, actually challenged the healthcare system. It says, what, no hierarchy? And many debated this report. So I wanted to share with you that your graduation day today is evidence of fulfillment of the commitment to the recommendation of the National Academy of Sciences. Shared leadership that is interprofessional and visionary is what this university is about. The complexities of healthcare demands of all of us a change in our interactions as professionals to be increasingly efficient, seamless in communication, and united in our expertise to improve health. And again, so I share those thoughts with you to continue to challenge our system to meet the needs of caring, the needs of education, and the needs of research, and to not accept the status quo, because we need to continuously evolve to do better. I hope that Upstate's University's commitment to interprofessional education has been palpable to our students, and that you go forth in your individual roles to echo the commitment that you have taken on. But in the practice of medicine, each in your individual roles, I hope, will be grounded in the ethical practice of this craft. I urge you, as I will urge every single college graduate today, to use your intellect, your training, your expertise, your compassion, and your ethical stance as health professionals to uphold our oath, which is to do no harm, but also to do good. And the other is, as I reflected, is that there are many tough choices ahead. And I'd like you to think of immersing yourselves in those difficult and uncomfortable conversations as we tackle some of the challenges of the future. And I invite you to embrace a shared and collaborative leadership paradigm that engages diverse colleagues, invites thoughtful disagreement and critical thinking. That is, that it is inclusive and of the highest caliber. I'm hopeful that your training here at Upstate Medical University has prepared you well to embrace all of the challenges which we cannot meet without you, without all of us. And I hope you will encounter extraordinary experiences that will guide your path forward. Thank you all, and congratulations on your incredible accomplishments.
Ms. Taylor Solak, a graduate of the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program, has been invited to speak as the undergraduate student speaker. Will Ms. Taylor Solak please step to the podium?
Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity to speak to you all today. I believe that many of the graduates standing on stage with me would agree that a career in nursing is all but predictable. My story began unexpectedly when I was a teenager. I moved in with my grandmother in my senior year of high school to assist her with some of her basic care needs so that she could continue to live in the home that she had known for decades. My interest in the nursing field grew exponentially from this experience, and I pursued my associate's degree in nursing immediately. At that time in my life, I had no idea that a career in nursing would provide me with the burgeoning opportunities that have brought me to stand here today. Reflecting upon the past 2 years, the most important concept my education has provided me clarity to is the individual responsibility each nurse holds to the advancement of the profession for the better good of patients and nurses alike. We leave here today with the capacity to do just that. Nursing is the nation's largest healthcare profession, with more than 2.6 million licensed RNs. We are at the forefront of every event that occurs at the bedside, and we are the primary providers of hospital patient care. With this responsibility comes our duty to uphold professionalism in every action we make. We see healthcare changes in real time, and in today's modern healthcare system, within a very capricious political climate, our roles and responsibilities to our patients and the healthcare system are beyond meaningful. The very foundation of our profession is built upon leadership skills, and it is paramount that we understand our capacity to be catalysts for positive change. Florence Nightingale, the trailblazing founder of modern nursing, once wrote, "Rather, 10 times die in the surf, heralding the way to a new world, than stand idly on the shore." It is our perseverance, our intelligence, and our hard work that have brought us to stand here today, and I am beyond proud of every nurse who stands here with me. We have all stepped into the surf. In conclusion, I would like to thank my faculty, advisor, and role model, Dr. Roberta Rowland, and College of Nursing Interim Dean, Dr. Lynn Cleary, for their guidance throughout this journey. I would also like to thank my family and my boyfriend for their continuing support. And lastly, please allow me to extend my congratulations to my fellow graduates and to all of the loved ones here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Allison Kemp, a graduate of the Masters of Science Nursing program, has been invited to speak as the graduate student speaker. Will Ms. Kemp please come forward?
Good afternoon. I wanted to first thank the College of Nursing for inviting me to speak today, and let me add my congratulations to all my colleagues on the stage and to our friends and family. We are all here because at some point, each of the graduating students wanted to make a change for themselves. Many of us have taken non-traditional paths to this profession with degrees in other fields and experience in non-healthcare related jobs. As nurse practitioners, we are entering a unique role by stepping foot into medicine, but also maintaining our connections in nursing as the hands of healthcare. Procedural skills are essential in nursing, but our profession is also rooted in the values of humanism. The scope of nursing is difficult to define because we are trained in an integrated context of science, family, community, and culture. When I told others I wanted to become a nurse practitioner, I was often compared to a physician assistant. We are not physician assistants, and we are not medical doctors, so don't even try to be. Be a nurse practitioner because it is a powerful business when done correctly. There is a divergence between what the best healthcare practices know and what the industries we work for do in healthcare, but this presents a great opportunity for change. The truth is, healthcare is always in a state of fluctuation. This change is neither good nor bad, it just is. It is in our best interest to greet such change with hope, and this leads me to ask myself, why do we make personal changes? Because we see the light in trying something, and above all, we must try something. Successful nursing, and one can argue successful living, requires trust and devotion to altruism. This is despite our media glorifying views of individualism. We all have the obligation to give back in return for what we take, and we have the opportunity to do this every day in our work. I would like to use the myth of Pygmalion as a metaphor for change because it is human to try and explain things we cannot understand. Pygmalion is a Greek sculptor who fell in love with the work that he carved, a statue. For me, the takeaway from this story is Pygmalion ultimately devoted himself to the ideals of his work, and this work became greater than his life when he married his statue and it became his spouse. Pygmalion is also a term present in healthcare. This Pygmalion effect is understood as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Simply put, our beliefs affect our actions. This is how we begin to change. We envision the positive change to make it happen, and I ask everyone here to find a way to serve, a way to affect change. And this may not be by physically doing, but by simply empathizing. And Syracuse abounds with opportunity as it is in need of political intervention, local volunteerism, and improved healthcare access. Devoting yourself to making a difference, to promoting change, requires a degree of vulnerability as you extend yourself and connect with communities. Awareness about the social determinants of health coupled with social interest and emotional intelligence can become a virtuous, self-fulfilling prophecy. And let me be clear, it is our jobs as nurse practitioners to maintain practical, unbiased judgment and flexible curiosity towards those we care for. I challenge myself and all of us to find a way to do that and to do it right. Thank you and congratulations.
Dr. Florence Nightingale, a graduate of the Doctor of Nursing Practice program, has been invited to speak as the doctorate student speaker. Will Ms. Nightingale, Dr. Nightingale, please come to the podium?
Thank you. President Larak Arena, Interim Dean Clary, Assistant Dean Scapinato, College of Nursing faculty, families, friends, distinguished guests, and fellow graduates. It's an honor to speak to you all. As nurses, we are lifelong learners, committing our careers to obtaining a terminal degree in nursing. A Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, or a doctorate in nursing practice, DNP. Nurses have a choice to pursue either nursing research and generate new knowledge, as with the PhD, or focus on patient care, improving outcomes, and population health by translating research into practice, as with the DNP. My nursing journey took me from an associate's to a Master of Science, and now to a doctorate in nursing practice. I am a clinical nurse specialist practicing with a focus on the vulnerable population, geriatric population. I implement best practice dementia care to improve patient outcomes in one of the largest healthcare long-term care system, Loreto Health System. In 2010, the Institute of Medicine Future of Nursing report charged the nursing profession to increase the number of nurses who are prepared at the highest level in nursing practice and leadership in order to meet the demands of a complex healthcare system and improve patient outcomes. Nurses historically have actively been involved in solving complex healthcare issues. An example is the impact of Florence Nightingale's nursing practice on patient outcomes. During the Crimean War, Florence Nightingale helped physicians who sought her nursing expertise to reduce infection rates significantly. As an early leader, Florence Nightingale collaborated with Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, the first female physician. She also worked to establish the first Women's University College in Great Britain with Dr. Blackwell. Dr. Blackwell has graduated from Upstate Medical University in 1849 when it was still in Geneva, New York. This example demonstrates the importance of interprofessional collaboration and its synergistic effect. Today, healthcare system is multifaceted and rapidly changing, with rising patient acuity requiring more complex care. The healthcare system has many uncertainties and challenges in regards to a constantly evolving technology, information systems, cybersecurity, policy reform, and an increase in older adult population. These issues contribute to higher healthcare costs. The expert DNP is an advanced practice registered nurse and continues to focus on complex healthcare issues of our time. These issues contribute to higher costs, therefore, the DNP is poised to help, together with the interdisciplinary and interprofessional team, to effect change, translate scientific knowledge. As DNP leaders, our strength and contribution to healthcare lie in our ability to work collaboratively, empower others, advocate for patients, and promote patient-centered care. I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by the leader, Ludecke. She once said, "Nothing is great is ever achieved by doing things the way they have always been done. To make a difference, to have an impact, and to become great, we must do the unorthodox thing." Every single leader, movement, and organization that has ever wanted to create greatness has had to challenge the status quo. Thank you all, and congratulations to all the graduates.
The degrees from the College of Nursing will now be conferred by President Ludecke Arena. Dr. Lynn Cleary, Interim Dean of the College of Nursing, will present the recipients of the degrees in the College of Nursing. Students receiving academic honors have met the following grade point criteria: summa cum laude, 3.9 to 4.0, magna cum laude, 3.75 to 3.89, and cum laude, 3.6 to 3.74.
President Ludecke Arena, as Interim Dean of the College of Nursing, I have the honor to present these recipients of the degree Bachelor of Science. With the completion of the curriculum, they will have satisfied the requirements established by the faculty and have been recommended by the faculty for the conferring of this degree.
So will all candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree in the College of Nursing please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the State University of New York, upon completion of all requirements, I confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Science with all its rights, privileges, and obligations. Please come forward to be individually recognized and for induction into the College of Nursing Alumni Association.
Taya Jones Lucas, Omicron Alpha, Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Charles Karpinski. Jessica Layton. Ashley Levatino, Omicron Alpha, Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Christopher Sanders, Omicron Alpha, Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Catherine Shields, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society, and recipient of the John X. and Veronica A. Durimond Endowed Scholarship, the Carol Sheen Gavin Endowed Nursing Scholarship. Taylor Solak, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and Undergraduate Student Leadership Award.
President LaRocca Reina, as Interim Dean of the College of Nursing, I have the honor to present the recipients of the degree Master of Science. With the completion of the curriculum, they will have satisfied the requirements established by the faculty and have been recommended by the faculty for the conferring of this degree.
Will all candidates for the Master of Science degree in the College of Nursing please rise?
Amazing.
Pretty impressive, huh? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the State University of New York, upon completion of all requirements, I confer upon you the degree Master of Science with all its rights, privileges, and obligations. Please come forward to be individually recognized and for induction into the College of Nursing Alumni Association.
As we individually recognize the Master of Science graduates, they will be hooded and congratulated by their individual program chairs.
Masters of Science graduates are being hooded by Dr. Michelle Jansen, Dr. Sherry McMullen, Dr. Bambi Karki, Dr. Joyce Scarpinato, Dr. Patricia Powers, and Dr. Melanie Common. Matthew Alloy, recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Miriam Acer, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Chelsea Ashcroft, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Lily Barris, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Linda Belden is receiving a Postmaster's Advanced Certificate and is a member of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Selena Bodie, recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Holly Campbell, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Debbie Carey Lalonde, magna cum laude. Nagazi Christopher, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Shivangi Chudaska Modi, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Kimberly Comboy, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Yvonne Davis, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Lisa DeWild, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Kathleen Dibble, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Alyssa DiPolito, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Lanisha Udell, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Christina Fearon. Catherine Fessenden, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Allison Fluman, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society, recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Brooke Frazier, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Graduate Student Leadership Award. Jordan Gary, magna cum laude, recipient of the Dean M. Nelson, Janice Nelson Nursing Scholarship. Amanda Hance, magna cum laude. Hillary Heaton, cum laude. Christopher Hearn, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Kenneth Hilborn, cum laude. Jessica Hollis, summa cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Carrie Hostetler, cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Melissa Cattermess, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Allison Kemp, Master of Science, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter, Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society, and recipient of the Nancy E. Lyon Nursing Scholarship. Baljit Kara. Jennifer LaFrance, cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Megan Lefevre. Yi Duan Lo, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Kim Miller Bauer, magna cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Heather Pryor, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Lauren Bova, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Sarah Troiani, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Steve Ruda Gamara, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Alex Martin, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Michelle McDonald. Jeffrey Mogul, summa cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Zakia Moss, magna cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Gabrielle Murphy, magna cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Victoria Achman, magna cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society, recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Francis Aquendo, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Brandis Pearson, recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Molly Pleskach, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Rachel Price, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Gina Puccello, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau National Honor Society. Megan Rogers. Karen Schiff, cum laude. Francis Scutari. Francesca. Megan Thane, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Allison Thomas, magna cum laude. Marie Totari, magna cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Mindy Valenti, magna cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Chelsea Van Tassel, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Marissa Vartek, cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter, member of Sigma Theta Tau National Honor Society. Laura Wellington, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Charles R. Ross Memorial Student Research Award. Bridget Wilson, summa cum laude, and Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Nurse Educator Certificate Program. Nicole Woodrow, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. Sarah Weicker, cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. David Youngs, cum laude, member of the Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society. And Edward Zimmerman, summa cum laude, Omicron Alpha Chapter of the Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society.
President LaRocca Reina, as Interim Dean of the College of Nursing, I have the honor to present the recipients of the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice. With the completion of the curriculum, they will have satisfied the requirements established by the faculty and have been recommended by the faculty for the conferring of this degree.
Will all candidates for the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree in the College of Nursing please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of the State University of New York, upon completion of all requirements, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice with all its rights, privileges, and obligations. Please come forward to be individually recognized and for induction into the College of Nursing Alumni Association.
Our graduate of the Doctor of Nursing Practice program that is present today is being hooded by Dr. Joyce Scarpinato and Dr. Helen Clancy. May I present Dr. Florence Nightingale.
President LaRocca Arena, I have the honor to present the recipients of the Postmaster's Certificate Program. They have satisfied the requirements established by the faculty and have been recommended by the faculty for the receipt of the recipient of the certificate.
Will all candidates for the Postmaster's Certificate in Nursing please rise? I offer my sincere congratulations. Please come forward to be individually recognized and for induction into the College of Nursing Alumni Association.
Elizabeth Murchie, Omicron Alpha Chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society and recipient of the Postmaster's Advanced Certificate Program.
Dr. Roberta Rowland, Director of Undergraduate Program, and Dr. Joyce Scarpinato, Director of Graduate Programs, will now present the Student Leadership Awards.
The Student Leadership Awards are presented by the faculty of the College of Nursing to students who have demonstrated outstanding qualities of leadership, ability to work effectively with others, and has had active participation in the College of Nursing activities and committees. It is my pleasure to recognize Taylor Solak as the undergraduate recipient of this award. Taylor, please come forward to receive your award.
As the director of the graduate program, it's my pleasure to recognize Brooke Frazier as the recipient of the Graduate Student Leadership Award. Brooke, please come forward to receive your award. Dr. Melanie Coleman, Culminating Graduate Program Chair, will now present the Ross Research Award.
The Charles R. Ross Memorial Student Research Award is presented to a student whose podium or poster presentation was judged as demonstrating the best evidence by a faculty subcommittee. Will Laura Wellington please come forward to receive your award? Dr. Lynn Cleary, Interim Dean of the College of Nursing, will now present the Distinguished Faculty Awards.
It is my pleasure as Interim Dean to present the Distinguished Faculty Awards. These are presented by the graduates to College of Nursing faculty who, in their opinion, exemplify professional role modeling, student advocacy, excellence in teaching, and guidance in academic and career endeavors. The recipients of this year's awards are Dr. Bambi Karki and Dr. Michelle Jansen. Would you please come forward to receive your awards?
It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Michael Elaine, President of the College of Nursing Alumni Nursing Association.
Thank you, Interim Dean Cleary and the College of Nursing, for the chance to speak today. As I reflect upon this day and watch all of you, I reflect upon the importance of this day to everyone. About 9 years ago, I was in a similar situation. The excitement, the pride, the relief, and the joy knowing that I actually have a gig as soon as I get done, which is kind of rare for a CNS, actually. If anybody who's out there is a CNS, it's nice to have a job. So as I got through my orientation, my nurses services orientation, I got shown where my office is, big, beautiful, kind of sitting there, and very full of myself. I sat down at my computer for the first time and sat there and looked at my computer, looked at my desk, and said, for the second time in my nursing career, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I thought to myself, how am I going to rectify this? Knowing that Kraus is only going to take the answer, I'm new, for just so long. So Dr. Kalman, back then, I don't know if she remembers, but she used to have this informal group of CNSs in the community. And we'd all meet at Francesca's. And for this awkward introvert, it was never a fun experience for me. But as I sat there over dinner, drinks, whatever, I realized what she was trying to do with this. She was trying to develop a network, a group of people who knew what they were doing and could help each other and advise each other. When you walk across the stage today, you are now alumnus. You are instantly a member of the Nursing Alumni Association. It's a large network of nursing professionals and fellow graduates who are all here to help you. You all will be out there new to this environment, and you will need somebody to help you. And this is where the Nursing Association can come in. So I invite you to use it. You'll get alumni newsletters. You also can visit the Alumni Nursing website. Keep us up to date, both personally and professionally. This will help you connect. If you have a question, ask. These where your mentors are going to come from. And in closing, I'd like to say that even if you don't become an active member of the Alumni Association, which I hope you all will, you need to be active, and you are now, by virtue of education and knowledge, leaders in this profession. When you're sitting in your office, or you're sitting working on the floor, and you're saying, why doesn't somebody do something about this? That somebody is you. Be involved. Be active. We need you. Thank you. Congratulations.
We will now hear remarks from Dr. Michael Reid Barrett, who will be awarded an honorary degree at the College of Medicine commencement ceremony later today. Dr. Barris is a National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, physician and astronaut, one of the nation's few specialists dually trained in medicine and aerospace medicine. Please refer to your commencement program for additional substantial information about Dr. Barris, and please join me in welcoming him to the podium today.
Thank you, Dr. Cleary, and thank you to Dr. Ludecke for allowing me to share this very special day with you. I'm really honored to be here on this really amazing day. A big milestone for you, for the families, and for you, the graduates, in your professional lives. I'm your last speaker, and I'm sure that you want to get out of here and shower your graduate with accolades, and well, you should. So I'll try to keep my remarks somewhat brief. To the graduates, I hope you're all duly proud and satisfied, and that you're surrounded by loved ones that understand what you've accomplished and sacrificed, and I think that's true. This is kind of like a solemn ceremony with the spirit of a rock concert, and the support that you guys offer is really palpable. I learned very early that nurses are the beating heart of hands-on healthcare delivery. And over the decades, I've really had it sunk home to me that that's a beating heart armed with discipline, with science, technology, and state-of-the-art knowledge. There's a very diverse range of backgrounds and career paths that are represented here. But I also know there's a very common thread of hard work and determination. And I've had the chance to speak with some of you, and that shines very, very brightly. And now into the future. And I will mention, by the way, that we have several nurses among our ranks of health professionals at NASA, the Johnson Space Center, the Kennedy Space Center. And they perform duties ranging from standard clinical care to training astronauts and actually providing real-time consultation from our Mission Control Center to astronauts on board. Most of them come from the clinical community, and they have applied their skills to us, certainly with great care, and have really furthered our space program. So it's been a pleasure to work with, and because of that, I have a kind of a different perspective of the nursing profession that some do. And with this understanding, I'd like to share with you, some of the things that a career at NASA has really emphasized to me. First of all, global optimism. Now, I sense a lot of optimism back there, which is great. So I may be preaching to the choir, but let me just expand our views of that a little bit. There is a lot of turmoil in the world, and you can easily let the day-to-day news of the present really cloud your view of the future. But some of the best trends occur over time. You can only see them from a distance, and those are easily lost in the current shuffle of news that's presented to us. Now, I want to present just a couple of examples. One was the Cold War, and when I was young, the Cold War was still simmering quite along, and I was actually a member of the Civil Defense. I believe Dr. Ramberg was as well. Maybe not. But anyway, I had my little yellow Geiger counter in case there was a nuclear exchange. But the idea of cooperative projects between us and our Cold War adversaries was pretty remote. And there was one event, though, in 1975, the Apollo-Soyuz test flight, where the US and the Russian space programs came together, launched an Apollo spacecraft and a Soyuz spacecraft, and they did a rendezvous and docking and got a lot of mileage out of the public address that they gave out of it. There's no question about it. But it was really a shining moment that showed what was possible when two adversaries actually brought their skills and their passions to bear and show us what we could do, how we could work together. Now, there were no plans for follow-on at the time, but there were a few souls, such as myself, who were just very inspired by this, just looking at what a future could be. So fast forward many years, I came to NASA in 1991. I started almost immediately working with our Russian counterparts. Now, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to address a graduating senior class of engineers from the Bauman Institute of Aviation and Aerospace in Moscow, among the most high-level graduates in the world, actually. And I was talking about my favorite subject, which is the human in space. But it hit me that as I was talking to these guys, they had only known a time of cooperation. We've been working with our Russian counterparts longer than these people have been alive. To them, the Cold War is just history, and I think to most of you it is as well. Never knowing a time when the US and Russia weren't working together was profoundly inspiring to me after all these years, and it could only be appreciated after many years had gone by and I was able to take a step back. But decades of relationships, decades of experience have occurred that transcend our current problems of administrations and government and past history. I think that's been tremendous in helping our world stabilize a bit. Another example is health and medical technology that many of you are intensely familiar with right now. But instruments and techniques for medical imaging, clinical analysis, delivery of care, these equip us like never before in history. I'm sorry to say I've been around the medical profession over 30 years now, and I've seen the difference in what this amazing set of tools has given us in ministering to the health needs of the world. It now becomes just the application and the distribution of these tools, which is where a lot of you come in, rather than the existence of these tools. What an amazing step forward. Now, I will caveat that to this group in that your patients will not remember how amazing your monitor is or how amazing your drug delivery system is. They will remember you. So be that human interface between this amazing tool set you have and the patient that you're caring for. Another thing, working across the differences, healthcare, like spaceflight, is very much a team sport. In our case, it's a very international one. The International Space Station program involves 5 space agencies across 17 nations. And we started out very early, very full of enthusiasm and all sorts of goodwill. We came together to iron out our differences and build something complex together. Well, we crashed hard while doing this many, many times because we were trying to meld ourselves into a completely homogeneous team. But guess what? Our Russian counterparts, the Japanese, the French, Germans, everyone, they don't think like we do. They don't talk like we do. They have very different approaches, and we are equally puzzling to them, if not more so, I would say. And we don't have to think alike, and we don't have to agree on everything. We've learned to live with our differences, and at times to celebrate our differences rather than trying to diminish them and work over them. On my 199-day flight in space, my longest one, 6.5 months, I had a crew of 6 individuals. Most of that time, this was 2 Russians, a Canadian, a Belgian, a Japanese fellow, and myself as the token American. And you might guess that there were a few things that we didn't necessarily see eye to eye on, from politics to music to food choices. But it was okay. When people ask me what are my best memories of being in space, the obvious ones looking out the window, just floating like Superman in zero gravity, it's really great. But what ranks just as high as any of those is the time around the galley table with my shipmates, where we would share stories, share music, solve the world's problems, and complain about management. But what a great time that was, and the differences remained, and we worked around them. We shared music from Van Halen to the Brandenburg concertos, food from Russian borscht to Japanese seaweed soup, and we actually were an extremely cohesive crew. Not a set of homogeneous characters, but a very cohesive crew. And more importantly, there were hundreds of representatives from the many countries that are involved in the station program working together on the ground every day across lines of culture and language and methodological approaches and politics. And I think one of the best testaments to that is the many intermarriages we've had in this program. Some of these have produced children which are now graduating from college, which I think is fabulous. You'll all be taking your unique skill sets into the community, and you will encounter plenty of folks who don't think like you do and may not agree on your food choices and politics, but work across those differences with your patients, your colleagues, everyone around you. You're united in a common goal to improve the health of the individual and the community, and hopefully you'll learn some new music and try some new foods along the way. Another point, it's never too late to make a career change, and now I'm talking to some of you as well as our graduates, and I think a lot of you already know this. I was a very happy flight surgeon at NASA for many years, and being an astronaut was the last thing from my mind. I never dreamed of applying until I'd been there for quite a while. I was actually 35 when I decided to throw my hat in that ring, and I was 40 years old when I was selected to be an astronaut and really began a new career. So one common theme amongst the members of my class who were selected, the class of 2000, is that none of us thought we would be selected. None of us thought it would be us. And I think all of us were outclassed by each other. And those were all healthy thoughts. But you have to play to win, whatever stage you're in. I turned 50 during my longest flight. Just want to make that known. And we often direct our career guidance towards the young people, those that are just entering the workforce. But keep in mind that it's never too late to make a change if it makes sense for you. Don't fear a radical redirection if it's the right thing to do. Another point, lifelong learning. You can never know enough. I hope that's been hammered home to you, but you can never know enough. When we get selected as astronauts, immediately when that goes public, a lot of folks start calling you and congratulating you and talking about how awesome you must be. That all dies on day one of training. And both your instructors and the real world remind you very quickly how little you really know, even though you have a newly minted pedigree or a newly minted status in life. Pretty much every day during training as an astronaut, and that includes today, I paid the idiot tax for something I didn't know. So we learn early that any astronaut that thinks they pretty much know everything is dangerous. And the same is true of a medical professional. Now, fortunately, that is not our culture, and I don't think it's yours as well. One thing is that most of us are happiest when we're learning new things, and so embrace that as it comes, and I hope that becomes true in your worlds as well. And just as for us, the real world is your best teacher. Now, along with that, teach and mentor. In turn, there is a responsibility to pass on what you know. For many of you in your diverse professions in the nursing skills, many of the critical skills that you have, that you develop, that you're going to perfect over the years, you can't read about that in books. You can't acquire that just by reading about it. They're going to be in your heads and in your hands, and please take the time to pass that on to people. That's like pure gold. A little bit on life balance. We were lectured early on to find that place of harmony where our home lives and our careers were in perfect balance. Well, that never worked for me. My wife, by the way, is a physician as well, and we have 5 children. So believe me, we've stressed that concept. Never worked for me or really for anyone I know who's really passionate about their professions. And I think this applies whether you're supporting human spaceflight or providing the hands-on support of the health of the nation like you do. If you find yourself slightly torn between your home life and your professional life, you're probably right where you need to be real honest. There's an example that you set to your family and to your friends when you're passionate about something right, something that's good. And it's a healthy example to your friends, to your family, to your children. And it teaches a very powerful lesson. Now, likewise, the good workplace recognizes the importance of family in the lives of steady workers. So hopefully that balance is not necessarily perfect harmony, but it's one that serves the greater good. A little bit about borders and boundaries. The Earth is impossibly beautiful from space. If there's one thing we could share with everybody, if we could invite everybody to dinner one night, we would do that, and we would let people look out the window. It's impossibly blue oceans, white swirling clouds, vast green forests and deserts, just hanging out there in this blackness of space. You realize how fragile your planet is, how incredibly lucky you are to have it. And by the way, we circle the globe every 90 minutes. That's 17,500 miles an hour. But one thing you notice in fairly short order after you get over the shock of this beauty is that there's no borders down there. When you're trying to recognize where one country ends and another doesn't, unless there's an ocean involved, you can't. It's really hard to recognize the countries when we're used to looking at a political map with very orderly lines that are artificially drawn on that. And the same is true in your careers. Many of the borders, and your education, I should say, many of the borders and boundaries that some of you have faced and will face in the future are just that. They're perceived. They're artificial lines that don't really reflect the true landscape. You have to look at the landscape differently and navigate by what you see and what you feel rather than what others tacitly tell you or assume. So never get so deeply entrenched that you stop looking for doors and opportunities across those boundaries. So I'll conclude by noting that at the end of a space mission, the way we like to feel after landing is totally exhausted but giddy with success. We are exhausted because we did give our all, and we're giddy because we did our best and it paid off. But we pretty quickly retool our thinking to the future, to our next mission, and to where we can best use our experience that comes at a very high price. So may it be the same with you. All of you have professions that rely heavily on the skill of the fingertips, the eye for practice, the compassion in your soul, which you must never stop perfecting. So I wish you the very best, and I look forward to your future of caring for our nation's health. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Barrett. This concludes our ceremony. Please join me in congratulating all of our graduates one last time. There will be a reception immediately following the ceremony at the Campus Activities Building. A photographer is available to take photos of graduates with their family and faculty. And as a reminder, the graduates will recess to the outside of the building, and you should meet them outside. Please remain seated until the faculty and graduates have exited. Thank you very much.